Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and today we are going to fly the FlightFX Cessna Citation 10 once again. The Citation 10 has just recently become one of my greatest general aviation or executive aviation releases of 2025, so it's only just that we're taking it out for another trip. Now, we are going from Innsbruck to Sion, which is going to be a quick 35-minute flight across the Alps, hoping for a straight-in approach over there. Innsbruck, currently beautiful weather, it's definitely winter, a little bit of snow falling everywhere, and a temperature of -3 degrees up there. So, I'd say without any further ado, we are gonna go right into this. So, we've got the covers that we can take off, also the engine covers, and the other side is already clear. That's looking perfect. And then let's go ahead and take the chocks as well. Alrighty, so let's open her up and get right inside so that we can get her set up for our service. Now, very quick look in the cabin to make sure that it is in an orderly fashion before our guests are arriving. We are transporting 4 passengers today, and yes, that includes the lavatory, even for a short flight like this. Okay, so transporting 4 passengers today. We would have a capacity for 8, but hey, not much we can do about it. Now, I am gonna close that door again until we got the air conditioning running so that it doesn't become too cold inside here for the time that our passengers are arriving. Alright then, let's go ahead and get the airplane set up and do the cockpit preparation checklist, which is pre-flight inspection complete, cockpit switches. So a very quick check across everything here, and that is all looking good and the way that it is supposed to look. Okay, then battery switches 1 and 2 are coming on. DC power is established. Avionics switches are coming on. Park and brake is set. Alright, then APU or GPU start. Well, let's go ahead and quickly do the smoke detector test. That's looking good. And the fire warning test. That's also looking good. And then we can start that APU. So APU master switch is going on, and then APU starter is going on. I love how you can hear the fans running down a bit when you initialize the APU start, for the simple fact that the airplane's DC system is currently really getting loaded. Alright, so the APU is starting and almost there. Here we go, radio load, so APU generator is coming online. Perfect, then we can turn the standby power system to test and to on, and then the IRSs are going into nav. Okay, cool, then let's test the remainder of the warning systems. Smoke detection test is looking good, that's looking good. Fire warnings are tested. Flaps looking good. Windshield temperatures, overspeed, stick shaker, annunciators, and that's all looking fantastic. Alright, so that's our tests completed. Then the voice recorder test is unfortunately not simulated. Aileron and rudder trim are set, flight guidance computers to be set, and that's the cockpit preparation checklist complete. So then let's go ahead and start setting up. Nav database is out of date. Unfortunately, I really can't figure out how to update that. So if any one of you knows, do put it into the comments below. I'd definitely be interested in that. So we'll load the GPS position. We are going to have to wait a minute, which is basically over, so we can turn the APU bleed on. Cabin temperature is set to automatic. 23 degrees is looking good. Then we are going from Lima, Oscar, Whiskey, India. Okay, destination Lima, Sierra, Golf, Sierra. Okay, so nav, departure, and we're going from Innsbruck's runway 08, Camden 5 Juliet departure. Here we go. Then let's have a look into our flight plan. And here we almost are. Here we are. Alright, so departing Innsbruck, and then we do have some turbulence forecast between level 160 and level 400, so I'm afraid there is not going to be any way around that. North into Germany, south in Switzerland, and with a bit of luck, since runway 25 is active, we can just get direct to the final approach once we're somewhere over there. So, in terms of airport weather, Innsbruck is looking good. Light snow reported, -3 degrees, and Sion is looking fantastic, temperature +1. And Geneva as our alternate is good as well. So with that in mind, on-time departure means on-time arrival. Flight level 230 is planned. And for the fuel, they want us to depart with 1.5 plus taxi fuel. So let's just go ahead and add a little bit more to that, because obviously I don't want to go with the exact minimum, not in business jet operations, because you never know if your guest might want something different. So let's take 2,000 kilos of fuel here, apply that, and the passenger load is looking good anyway. Okay then, so that is pretty much all looking good. Yeah, then let's go. Navigraph, Lima, Oscar, Whiskey, India, enter. And we're looking for the airport chart so that we can start by grabbing our ATIS, please. If only the thing would open. Why isn't it? That one opens. And here we go. Okay, no comment on that. So ATIS is on 12603. And we do obviously want to listen to that, so just, come on, put that tablet away for a moment. Thank you.
5,000 feet. Temperature -2.
All right.
-5. QNH 1022. Transition level 110. Holding position signs obscured in the south ramp area. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if traffic service is requested. Read back all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Foxtrot. Innsbruck Airport, information Foxtrot. 0820 Zulu. Arriving and departing runway 8. Wind 085 at 4. Visibility 10. Sky conditions. Few at 1100 feet. Scattered at 2400 feet. Broken at 5,000 feet.
Do we believe that?
-2.
I guess we do.
Point -5. QNH 1022. Transition level 110. Holding position signs obscured in the south ramp area. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if traffic service is requested. Read back all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Foxtrot. Innsbruck Airport, information Foxtrot. 0820.
Okay, so the ATIS is on board. I am going to wait a little bit with the clearance. Let's first of all finish up our FMS down here. So we're in Kempten now, and then we'll fly via Lima 856 to Trasardingen. From there it's direct Lutex. Then we fly direct Baynard. November 869 Nemas. Alright, and Yankee 58 to Vadar. And destination Sion is in there. Departure is loaded. Now let's go for the destination. ILS approach 25 from Grana with the Vada to November arrival. And activate that thing. Alright, so let's go ahead and cross-check our departure now. So, Navigraph, SID, Kempten 5, Juliet. Here it is. So, straight ahead at 7.5 Oscar Echo Juliet, intercept the localizer back course to 4.4 DME. And here we got intercept, well, that's towards Rum according to this. Let's see, procedural description, what does it say? Climb a runway track with maximum gradient until intercepting the back course inbound to Rum, okay. Then continue 4.4 DME, turn right, intercept 245 degrees, bearing to India, November. So we got intercept, Rum, then that's 4.4 DME, then 245 inbound to Innsbruck. That is looking good. And thereafter 285 towards Mokti and then 321 towards Kempten. And we got 285 inbound to Mokti and 321 inbound to Kempten. Alright, that is looking good. Now let's go for the performance down here. 300 and 0.8 is looking good. For the cruise, we are going to go for 300 and 0.8 as well. So transition altitude is 10,000 here in Innsbruck. Our cruising level will be 230. And speed limit to 50 below 100. Now we will have 4 passengers. We will have 110 pounds of cargo. And we got 4,420 pounds of fuel on board. Like this, which we can confirm. Then let's go for the takeoff initialization.
Contact you have information Foxtrot.
And just grab that weather.
Innsbruck Airport. Information Foxtrot. 0820 Zulu. Arriving and departing runway 8. Wind 085 at 4. Visibility 10. Sky conditions. View at 1100 feet. Scattered at 2400 feet. Broken at 5000 feet. Temperature -2. Dew point -5.
Checked.
QNH 1022. Transition level
and
110.
set.
Holding.
Okay, so far so good. Then let's go over here. The runway will be assumed wet because I've even seen a couple of snowflakes here. Then we've got anti-ice on, flaps 5, takeoff weight seems good, confirm that. And here's our takeoff speeds. Okay, nice. Then for the climb, 230, speed is looking good. And the cruise is looking good as well. Okay, lovely. So with that, our flight plan is set and checked. Beautiful, then we should slowly get our guests to the airplane, so let's go ahead and open up that door. Okay, here they are already. Well, that was easy. Then we'll just leave the door closed. Let's not make it any colder than we absolutely have to. Okay, cool. So let's finish up our setup over here. MFD menu, definitely gonna get the vertical profile. Traffic and terrain are already selected, excellent. And the same goes for you on the right hand side over there. Thank you. For our systems, I'm wondering why the electrical shows us 0 DC volts and 0 amps. I mean, we definitely do have our DC system running. Yeah, don't ask me. I just don't know. Alright, controls are looking good. Engine, oil quantity, I suppose is good. 3.5, is that fine? Very quick check. Do we actually have any maintenance menus here where we could fix that? I don't think we do, so probably just gonna be fine that way. No, nothing we can do about this. Alright. Then we are just going to accept it this way. Okay, cool. So that stuff is done. Then let's go for the IFR clearance. That was Information Romeo as far as I remember. And tower is on 1201. So what are we? November 200 Juliet Tango. Innsbruck Tower, November 200 Juliet Tango, Information Romeo, request IFR clearance.
I'm working on that clearance. Stand by.
Okay.
November Juliet Tango service. Clear to Sion via the Kempton 5 Juliet departure runway 8. Initial climb to flight level 120. Departure on 128.975 squawk 7425.
November 200 Juliet Tango is clear to Sion via Kempton 5 Juliet, departure runway 08, climb flight level 120, departure 128.975, squawk 7425. Alright, and November Juliet Tango, request engine startup.
November Juliet Tango service, engine start approved.
Startup approved, November Juliet Tango, thank you. Okay, good, so all that stuff is done. Then we've got runway 08, we got the Kempton 5 Juliet departure. Yep, we do. Okay, climb flight level 120, which is checked, and departure 128.975, we can already set that. And finally our squawk 7425. Okay, and that's our IFR clearance confirmed. Lovely, then let's go for the before start checklist, please. So, now the question, do we need de-icing? Well, if there is no ice anywhere on the windows here, I think it should be fine, but let's just quickly go outside and check that. No, those wings are looking clear. No clear ice anywhere on there. Alright, that's good. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. We are just finishing up the last paperwork and then we will start the engines. We expect a flight time of about 35 minutes, unfortunately with a little bit of turbulence there. Weather in Sion, however, is looking very good. Currently just a few clouds and the temperature is +1 degrees. Welcome aboard, sit back, relax, enjoy the flight. If there's anything, feel free to contact us and then have a nice one. Alright. Even though we gotta tell them that they're welcome to contact us, that doesn't mean we need to encourage it. Can we close that? No, it doesn't look like we can get the armrest down. That's a pity. Okay, nonetheless, then we are ready to go up here. So let's go ahead with the before start checklist. So, parking brake, verified, set, wheel chocks removed, cabin door locked, passenger briefing complete, seatbelts adjusted, cockpit side windows are closed and latched. Okay, external lights. Are now all set. Okay, IGS is set and checked, looking good. Clearance received, flight instruments set, and fuel quantity. We got 4,400 pounds balanced. Before start checklist complete. Okay, good. Ready for engine start? Then the sequence is going to be a 1 then 2, and we'll begin with engine number 1 now. So M2 is rising, we got 20%, fuel on. Okay, good start in engine 1, starting engine 2. As 20%. Bing bing. Nothing interesting. Okay. Alright, that is looking fantastic. So, B4, actually not yet. Generators are online, that is looking good. So, APU is going off. Down here, everything is set. Cruise level 230 basically doesn't require anything, so I'm just going to set the field elevation over here so that it doesn't do any strange stuff. Like that. Okay, lovely. So, emergency lights are now armed. Down here everything is set, and that is looking fantastic. We'll turn the anti-ice on. We'll also turn the windshield anti-ice on. Windshield air on. And engine anti-ice on. Alright, then we can trim. It has to be somewhere over here, huh? Okay. So, flaps 5 takeoff. Right, here we go. Trim is set. And that is looking fantastic. Okay, B4 taxi checklist. So, flight controls. Full up. Full down, neutral. Full left. Full right, neutral. Rudder. Full left. Full right. And neutral. So, flaps set to 5. Speed brakes are checked and stowed. Then we got the HRS and IRS aligned and no flags. ICAS checked, anti-ice on, pressurization set, and passenger advisory lights are set to on. Okay, B4 taxi checklist complete. November 200 Juliet Tango, request taxi. So parking down here, so probably just going to be all the way via Alpha and then backtrack runway 08.
November Juliet Tango, service runway 8, taxi via Bravo Bravo Alpha.
Taxi runway 08 via Bravo and Alpha, November 200 Juliet Tango. Okay, clear left side, clear right side. We'll ignore the guys in front of us because they're really not supposed to be there and we have no way of removing them. And then let's go. Brake check. It's looking good. So everything's clear, then all the way to runway 08. Alright, for the takeoff briefing, it's going to be a left seat takeoff, runway 08, flaps 5, noise abatement procedure number 2, takeoff speeds 124, 128, 139, and the sit is initially straight ahead, then a slight left-hand turn, followed by a right-hand 180 within the valley. Visibility should be okay, but we might be entering the clouds up here in the 180 turn, but that is fine. Apart from that, emergencies, we follow the localizer outbound and climb visually within the valley, and then we see about the further actions. I've got nothing special, I've got nothing non-standard, and the initial climb is 120. Departure frequency is already pre-selected, the squawk is in, and that's it. Any questions? Nope. Beautiful. Then let's do a taxi checklist, please. Exterior lights are set. Brakes checked, park and brake released, nose wheel steering is checked, thrust reversers. Let's check them now. Checked, operating fine. Taxi checklist complete. Alright, let's continue with the before takeoff checklist to the line, please. Anti-ice systems checked, seatbelt, shoulder harness are checked and secure. Flaps, slats set for takeoff, speed brake retracted, trims set for takeoff. Yacht and Mach trim are both checked on and crew briefing completed. Before takeoff checklist complete down to the line. November Juliet Tango, request to backtrack runway 08.
November Juliet Tango, runway 8, backtrack approved.
Runway 08, backtrack approved, November Juliet Tango. Okay, anti-collision light on. And we're clear on the left. Clear on the right as far as we can see. Then let's just continue with the lineup items so that we're ready by the time he calls us. Transponder, lights, and everything looking good. Okay. I'm gonna go for weather on my side. Alright, let's take as much of that runway as possible. Here we are. Okay, park and brake set for a quick moment, so that thing is set, then takeoff is selected, the sit is checked and looking good. Then I'd say we are ready to go down here. Alrighty, looking good. So before takeoff checklist below the line. Radar on, transponder, Tara, pitot and static anti-ice is on. Wing anti-ice is off, engine anti-ice is on. Exterior lights are set, engine instruments are checked. And the IGS is checked. Before takeoff checklist complete. November 200 Juliet Tango, ready for departure.
November Juliet Tango, service runway 08, winds 080 at 4, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 08, clear for takeoff, November Juliet Tango. Alright, are you ready? Well, nobody in that seat. I suppose that means yes. So, park and brake is released, takeoff. Start the timer. Takeoff thrust set, indications normal. 100 knots. V1, rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. 400 feet. LNAV. Autopilot, because I do want to enjoy the views a little bit.
November Juliet Tango, contact departure on 128.975.
128.975, November Juliet Tango. Innsbruck departure, November 200 Juliet Tango, passing 3,500, climbing flight level 120.
Hey,
level change, 210.
Innsbruck radar identified. Climb flight level
Auto thrust
230,
on.
direct Innsbruck.
Climbing flight level 230 and when able direct Innsbruck, November 300 Juliet Tango. Okay, so direct Innsbruck. Suppose we're climbing more than well enough, so we can do that. Flaps up.
November Juliet Tango, contact Vienna radar on 118.56.
11856, November Juliet Tango. Okay, don't accelerate now. Keep those 210. Otherwise, things could get ugly with the terrain. And you keep turning, please, whatever you have calculated. I'll wait a moment with calling Vienna, just because I want to monitor the departure progress here and make sure that we've got enough terrain clearance. But this is looking good. Yep, definitely looking good. We have the terrain clearance we need. Alright. Then speed back to the FMS, and then we can call Vienna. November Juliet Tango, please say again the frequency.
November Juliet Tango, 128.975.
But we are on that frequency. Please say again the next frequency, November Juliet Tango. AI. Okay, 11856, I just looked it up. Generator, November 200 Juliet Tango, passing flight level 107, climbing flight level 220. Okay, so it's done that.
November 200 Juliet, Tango Vienna radar, identified cruise speed.
Okay. So we're clear of everything, and then we can do the after takeoff checklist, please, which is landing gear up, flaps up, throttles in the climb detent, anti-ice systems as required. I think we can turn them off by now. So engine sync on fan, pressurization. Differential pressure is building. So passenger advisory lights off, altimeter standard, and finally exterior lights as desired off. So after takeoff and climb checklist complete. FU master can also go off, and then we've done it. We are out of Innsbruck. So I think the airport is just down there. Those are just scratches, no ice, huh? Yeah, looks like it. Okay, nice. So, 300 knots, nicely on the way. November 200 Juliet Tango, request climb flight level 230.
November Juliet Tango, climb flight level 230.
Climbing flight level 230, November Juliet Tango. Set, 230 check. November Juliet Tango, any chance to proceed direct Tango Romeo Alpha? Because that would spare us the right-hand turn.
November Juliet Tango, cleared direct Trasardingen, climb flight level 230.
Clear direct Trasardingen, climbing level 230, November Juliet Tango, thanks. Okay, I like it. So, direct to Trasardingen. So, slight left-hand turn, and then you can see the final of runway 25 in Sion over there already. So, hopefully as soon as we're talking to the next sector, we'll just be asking for a left-hand turn, directing to that destination. That also means we just got a very short flight ahead of us, so let's already start searching. Yep, I suppose this will have to do.
And maintain flight level 160.
Alright, pass level 200, still climbing at a good rate. That's everything looking good.
160, Dolomiti 5 Hotel X-ray.
Okay, so Sion, Star. Well, I do seriously hope that we are not going to need them, but if we do, it's Vada, Sosal, Grana. And in the FMS, we got Vada, Sosal, Grana. Note that there are a couple of restrictions missing there, but I'm going to ignore that for the time being, because I do hope that we won't have to fly it in the first place. IGS 25, ATIS 13063. Right, and that was 1,000 to go. Okay, out capture. 300 knots, looking good. And it looks like we're not receiving the ATIS just yet. That's fine. November 200 Juliet Tango, please confirm the runway in use at our destination.
November Juliet Tango, direct Captain Ben Asphalt, please.
No.
November Juliet Tango, runway 25 in use at Sion.
Thank you, and request to continue direct Trasardingen, November Juliet Tango. Or perhaps...
Juliet Tango, continue direct Trasardingen. Approved. Maintain flight level 230.
Thank you, direct Trasardingen improved at flight level 230, November Juliet Tango. Okay, so, let's see, the minimum for this one. Gotta zoom in a little bit, otherwise it's rather hard to read.
November Juliet Tango, continue direct Trasardingen.
Yeah, why are you repeating yourself? Okay, so minimum 4,490, 4.9% climb gradient is not a problem at all. Now, provided that the temperature stays positive, we don't need to do any cold temperature correction here. That might save us a little bit of work. Okay, 4,470 is set, and should be 4,490, fair enough. Now I can't move my camera, what's going on? Hello? God, this simulator. Here we go, that's better. 3063, that is correct, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Okay. Shall we just be blunt and ask if we can fly direct to Mars-Up? November, Juliet Tango. Any chance to proceed direct Mars-Up?
November, Juliet Tango, contact Munich, radar on 133.55.
133.55, November, Juliet Tango.
November, Juliet Tango, clear direct Mars, maintain flight level 230.
Thank you, direct Mars-Up and 133.55, November, Juliet Tango. That's what we've been looking for. So, direct to Mars-Up and over to Munich. Munich radar, November 200, Juliet Tango, flight level 230, turning inbound Mars-Up. At least I would like to do that. Currently start the left turn. The top of the sun seems a little close to the destination, doesn't it?
November 200, Juliet Tango, Munich radar, cleared, radar 2 November into Sion. When you're ready to begin your descent, descend flight level 150.
When ready, descent level 150, November, Juliet Tango. We still need to teach ATC that if we are already flying to a point on the approach, that we do not really need the sky anymore if that ends before it.
Descend flight level 150.
Descending now, flight level 150, November, Juliet Tango. Alright, vertical speed 500. That's gonna do the job. Okay, so they want us in 1.5, which also is the MSA. That's fair enough for me. Okay, cool. Then final approach course is 244. That's going to set them itself automatically. We do have a couple of check altitudes over here. All of that stuff is looking good. Then let's do a little bit of arrival calculations here. So that stuff is in, that stuff is looking good. Let's go for performance, landing. Now it would be nice if we could receive the destination ATIS.
Advice on course heading.
Oh,
Altitude.
that's timing.
Traffic services requested. Read all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Juliet. Sion Aeroport. Information Juliet. 0920 Zulu. Arriving and departing runway 25. Wind calm. Visibility 10. Sky conditions. View at 3,000 feet. Temperature 0. Dew point -2. QNH 1023. Transition level 180. Caution bird activity. Towing operations underway at the cargo ramp. Expect delays. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if traffic service is requested. Read all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Juliet.
Okay.
Juliet Tango, contact Vienna radar on 118.56.
118.56, November, Juliet Tango. Wien radar, November 200, Juliet Tango, flight level 121, descending 150.
November 200, Juliet Tango, Vienna, radar identified. Good morning.
Okay, good. So we're back with the Vienna controller. Then let's go ahead and start a little bit of a briefing over here. So threats for the arrival, most definitely going to be the terrain. Weather really isn't an issue here, so it really isn't an issue. There is no need to say any more than that. For that reason, let's just go back to the terrain display over here. Weather radar off. I'll tell you what. We'll keep that on for the time being, and we'll switch that as soon as we get a little bit closer. Alright, so Terrain is the threat. The temperature is now 0. The field elevation in Sion is 1,600. And 1,600 is now set down here for our destination field elevation. So 1,600, that means the ICAO standard temperature is 12 degrees. We got a temperature of 0, so we're at ISR minus 12. That means we do not need to apply cold temperature correction. Therefore, the MSA of 15,000 feet does apply for our approach. Frequencies should be 110.7. I forgot to tune those. Here we go, 1107 and 1107. Alright. That stuff is now set. For the approach itself, 1107, 244, starting officially in 16,000 in Alito. If they want us in 15,000, that's fine. That is the MSA, so they can do that. Parts of the approach are located within airspace class Echo, so watch out for VFR traffic. We will do that. I do believe the Echo airspace starts at 13,000 over here, so we'll limit our speed to below 220 as soon as we are established on that. Apart from this, intercepting the approach in Alito, officially 16,000. If we do 14, well 15, that's fine as well. Down to a minimum, we've got a climb gradient of 4.9% of 4,490. Yeah, go around. We leave the Sion VOR 1215.
November 200 Juliet Tango, Vienna radar, contact Swiss radar on 134.605.
134.605, November 200 Juliet Tango, see ya. Swiss radar, November 200 Juliet Tango, flight level 201, descending flight level 150. One 134.605, that's correct, isn't it?
November 200 Juliet Tango, Swiss radar identified. Hello.
Must have been on the phone or something. Okay, so go around is on the Sion radial 233 outbound until 20 DME, then a right and turn heading 099, intercept the bearing back inbound. That's going to be 053. Right, back to the station and climbing to 17,000. No cold temperature correction needed for that. And after overflying the station, radial 065 outbound to Grana, which is, well, not really that relevant. Alright, cool. So that's that part. Now, for the approach itself, at 7 DME, the ILS approach terminates. Then we are going to join the virtual approach, which is 6.8 DME Sion crossing 3,570, 6 DME 3,220, 4.4 DME 2,550. All of those things are in our mind. Yeah, I think that's it. Just one question. Do we have an approach slope somewhere? Doesn't look like it, huh? Because I do believe it is steeper than the normal... Oh yeah, here it is. 6 degrees. Okay. Perfect, that's it. Any questions on the briefing? Flaps 35 approach and VRF 118, we approach 123. Alright, so that's our briefing completed. Doesn't give us any vertical speed info, unfortunately. I mean, we've long not reached the top of descent that it had calculated, so that's most likely the reason for that. Okay, lovely. So that's our briefing completed. Then let's already go ahead and turn on the fasten seatbelt sign. Because with those 65 knots of wind, when they are going over the mountains, that might become a little turbulent. So, fasten seatbelts are on. And descent checklist, please. So, left and right windshield anti-ice switches. are on. Side window vent knobs closed, pressurization, landing elevation set, anti-ice switches as required. Note, cabin pressures may not be maintained at high altitude with the thrust levers at idle and anti-ice on. Adjust the throttles as required to maintain cabin pressure. The minimum speed to maintain level flight in icing conditions is 200 knots with the slats retracted. So, APU as desired, we don't need it. External lights to be set when we get a little bit lower. The same goes for the altimeters. Personal electronic devices off and stowed. Descent checklist complete. Alright. So far, so good. Man, those mountains are looking fancy down there. Okay. Beware of the German first officer talking. I know that part. Sometimes I wish we could turn off those camera effects here, because it would be a lot easier to take screenshots without the airplane constantly going up and down. Especially when, in reality, the airplane is maintaining a very nice, constant 500 feet a minute over here. Oh well, I suppose that would be asking for too much. Okay, so technically speaking, we want to be by Alito in 16,000. That means another 2,000 feet. We need 4 minutes to get there, and according to this, we only get an ETA to mass up, which makes no sense. Should be Alito. Actually, no, should be mass up, which is in front of Alito. So yeah, we might even have to reduce our vertical speed a little bit further here. Let's do 300 feet a minute. Just so that we don't reach those 15,000 too early. Because there's one thing that we have to take into consideration. Officially, we don't need to do cold temperature correction here, because the temperature is not below ISR minus 15. However, the cold temperature effects kick in as soon as the outside temperatures are below the ICAO standard atmosphere. And they are 12 degrees below that. We do not need to apply cold temperature correction here legally. However, we should keep in mind that even though the temperatures aren't low enough for the correction to become mandatory, our true altitude is still lower than our indicated altitude. So despite all the stuff with the correction technically not being necessary, we're still flying lower than what is normally or than what is indicated on our instruments. It's safe, it's within the legal boundaries of what the MSA is based on. However, it still means that we got reduced margins, so that's always something to keep in mind when you are operating a flight like this over mountains in weather conditions like this. Alright then, we are approaching a couple of clouds. Engine anti-ice on. What's it complaining about? Wing anti-ice cold. Yeah, that's because I haven't turned it on. So that should be going off any moment, I think. Otherwise, tell you what, if it wants wing anti-ice, let's give it wing anti-ice. Here you go, full set of anti-icing is on. I do hope that we're going to break out of the clouds on the other side. Looks like it. I just love this cloud surfing. The sim starts capturing those effects pretty nicely as well. In the real world you do see a little bit more detail in the clouds, but overall it does start looking good. Alright, there's the train I talked about. Honestly, the graphics are fantastic, aren't they? The sim just looks so good. It would be nice if we had a couple more local effects at the mountains though. For example, you got the sun shining on this side of the mountains, which would mean that it would be rather likely that on the other side you might get a couple of clouds. I mean, it kinda looks that way looking up here, where you got the clouds mostly sitting on the left-hand side. But a couple more details would be nice. Alright, 17 miles to go towards Marsop. That's looking good, and Marsop should be in 17. Marsop should be in 17. We are below that. However, MSA 25 miles around the airport is going to keep us safe at this level. Well, we should put it a different way. So, if you look at the en route chart, you'll notice it goes up to 17.4 in this area, but that's really because of the Mont Blanc somewhere down here. Where's Mont Blanc? Here's Mont Blanc. That's the reason for the MSA. The area covered in here, Charlie airspace until level 130. We can assume that they are safe to clear us down to 130 as well then. Because Class Charlie airspace does normally not touch the ground. It normally remains at least 2,500 above the ground. Okay. So, another couple of Cumulus Granitos down there. That looks fantastic, doesn't it? And I do hope that once we've passed this one, we are eventually going to get into the valley that leads to Sion. Man, this one might make for an excellent screenshot. So, 1,000 to go.
November 200 Juliet Tango Swiss radar. Contact Sion radar on 126.825.
126.825. November 200 Juliet Tango. Oh yeah, told you this one would be looking great. By the way, I do love the detail that Asobo are putting on mountains now. This looks so much better than it used to in the previous simulator. Sion radar, November 200 Juliet Tango, establishing on the IGS 25. Alright then, turning towards the final. We are not cleared for the approach just yet.
200 Juliet Tango, Sion radar identified. Good morning, cleared Grana transition. Cleared for the RNAV runway 25 approach into Sion.
I request the IGS approach runway 25, November 200 Juliet Tango. Alright, let's start slowing her down. And then we are established on the final.
November Juliet Tango. Negative. Only RNAV and visual approaches available for runway 25.
That's nonsense. Shut up there.
RNAV runway 25 approach.
No. Thanks, we'll fly the IGS. Okay, where's the approach button? Here it is. Okay, and here comes the vertical profile. I'll just fly ourselves manually into that glide. A little bit of speed brake here to get rid of that airspeed. You can already slow down further. Give me 170 knots. Okay, so about to enter some more clouds. The anti-icing is on. Alright, autopilot back on. On vertical speed into the glide path. Alright, flaps 5. Speed checked. Flaps 5. Okay, glide slope capture. Current altitude 17,000 set, and speed brake is going back in. Alright, so we're now at 17 DME. Well, at 14 we're supposed to be in 8.6. That's good. And here's the valley. So now we can switch over to terrain. Alright, approach checklist. Landing data is confirmed. Crew briefing complete. Avionics set. Minimums 4,490 set. Fuel crossfeed switch off. Exterior lights set. Landing lights can quickly come on. Flaps and slats as required. Passengers briefed. Approach checklist completed. We did already brief the passengers on the ground. That's why I'm not bothering with that right now. Not on an approach like this. Look at that. Beautiful terrain, isn't it? Still slightly accelerating, but we'll be using the speed brakes in a few moments to get rid of that airspeed. Right, landing gear down limit is 210.
November Juliet Tango, contact Sion Tower on 118.275.
118.275, November Juliet Tango, see ya. Sion Tower, November 200 Juliet Tango, established IGS approach runway 25. Alright, gear down.
November 200 Juliet Tango, Sion Tower, roger. You're expecting RNAV approach runway 25.
Oh, come on, don't dwell on that nonsense. There's the runway. So, flaps 15. Speed check, flaps 15.
00 Juliet Tango, Sion Tower, winds calm. Runway 25, clear to land. Caution bird activity.
Runway 25, clear to land, November 200 Juliet Tango. Okay, and flaps full, landing checklist. So, landing gear.
Juliet Tango, winds calm. Runway 25, clear to land.
Don't repeat yourself. Landing gear down 3 green, flaps full, speed brakes retracted. ICAS checked, airspeed is going down towards VREF, and autopilot will go off in a few moments before landing checklist complete. Alrighty, so there's our runway. For the time being, I'll just keep going on autopilot here, but we'll be disengaging it shortly. Alright, the puppy is inside, showing 3 red at the moment. Then let's go ahead and take over. Come on, where's the disengage button? Here it is. So, flight director's on standby. Manual thrust. We'll turn the wing anti-ice off. Okay, still 3 reds. And yes, I am just using the standby instruments here to check our speed. Alright, here we go, reaching the glide slope. No, I don't remember. Did we get landing clearance? November Juliet Tango, are we clear to land? Alright, established nicely.
November Juliet Tango, wind calm, runway 25, cleared to land. Caution bird activity.
Runway 25, clear to land, November Juliet Tango. No, I do remember, we did have landing clearance. I do remember the caution about the birds. Might get a temporary GPWS activation because of the descent rate here. Okay, disregard the poppy. I will go a little bit below right now, just to make that final attempt more gradual. Here we go, typical 3 degrees now. There's birds, but all above us. Okay, spoilers, reverse. $70 knots. Nice. Welcome to Sion. Haven't flown this approach in a while, but probably should have. Such a nice one.
November Juliet Tango, welcome to Sion. Exit at Golf if able. Contact ground on 121.705.
121.705, November Juliet Tango. Okay, we want to go somewhere over there. So that's gonna be stand... They got so many stand 1s here. Ground hello, November 200 Juliet Tango, request taxi to the General Aviation Terminal. Of which you probably got 100 of them, but I don't care. Not my problem. Alright, ATIS is going to remain on.
November Juliet Tango, taxi to Signature Aviation via Hotel Sierra Link 1. Good day.
Signature via Hotel Sierra Link 1, Juliet Tango. Alright, let's see where that is. Hotel Sierra, and it's gonna be over there. Links are not included over here, that's fine. Alright, so off to the left. We don't have any after landing checklist in the citation, so we'll just consider the things done once we've turned the weather radar off. Okay, cool. So, start APU, please. Ooh, small inputs on the tiller. Well, I gotta say, that was a thoroughly enjoyable flight. The early descent kinda gave us a better view of the Alps than I had originally hoped. But, yeah. I mean, this kind of stuff does happen in the real world as well, so nothing actually wrong with that. Alright then. Man, who drew these lines? Do they have any especially good alcoholics in Switzerland? Because it surely looks like someone had some of those. Alright, Very nice to fly the Citation once again. Definitely an airplane that I would love to fly more. It's just that there are so many excellent aircraft already out there, and even more of them coming, but definitely one that is worth flying. Especially now winter season with all those destinations here in the Alps or in the Nordics. So many great routes that you can fly with this. Alright then, I suppose we just have to find ourselves some parking over here, so let's just go off to the right and then we'll park straight in front of the tower. So, lights off. Here we go, and that looks like a parking box, doesn't it? Well, that actually looks like a taxiway line. That was pretty invisible before, but then we're gonna take that. Here's the yellow cash sign, that's where we gotta go as pilots anyway. And no, I don't think that originally stands for cash, but it's where you pay the landing fees, so we're just gonna take this. Alright, nice, then we are just gonna stop her right over here. Parking brake is set, let's see, APU is available, and generator is on. Okay, shutdown checklist please, which is parking brake set, anti-ice systems, all off, throttles, cut off, IRS control knobs, off, passenger advisory lights, off, standby gyro, caged, standby power, off, avionics switches, off, emergency light switch, off. Okay, gravity crossflow switches are off, and APU, well, we are going to keep that one on until our passengers are out, and with that I'd say welcome to Sion. Alrighty, passengers can go out now, then let's go ahead and shut that entire thing down there. And APU stop. Let's wait for it to shut down. We added another 30 and a bit minutes to our airplane's counter. And with that, my friends, thank you very much for flying. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.